This is a May Luna Media production.
Welcome to the Synaptic Soul Podcast, where science meets spirit and they totally make out. I'm Ava Marie Anderson, your quantum-loving, spiritually savage bestie, here to prove your energy isn't mystical, it is measurable. And oh, quick heads up, if you hear snoring or grunting or a dramatic sigh mid-download, that is not a ghost in the machine. It's just my Frenchie co-hosts, Rocky and Rambo, vibing at their own frequency. Let's dive in. Let's start here because this is where so many people get it twisted. Witchcraft isn't about waving a wand and summoning thunder. It is about directing consciousness, the most advanced operating system on the planet, toward a desired outcome. So spells are rituals, and rituals are how you talk to your subconscious mind. And your subconscious, that bitch runs about 95% of your life without consulting your conscious self. So if your subconscious doesn't buy it, it ain't happening, no matter how many candles you light or how many crystals you charge. See, the subconscious doesn't speak words. It doesn't care how many affirmations you shout into your mirror. It speaks in symbols and emotion and repetition. That is its native tongue. So when you dress a candle with oil and you trace a sigil or you stir your tea clockwise while whispering an intention, what you're really doing is giving your subconscious a visual, sensory, and emotional cue to anchor your belief. You're creating a language your own brain can finally understand. And every spell, no matter how old or culturally specific, has the same neurological architecture. There's always a focus, your intention, a trigger, your symbolic act, and your emotional charge, which is your belief. This trifecta activates three major parts of your brain: the prefrontal cortex, which handles planning and intention, the limbic system, which governs emotion and memory, and the basal ganglia, which turns repeated behaviors into habits. So when those three link up, you are basically building a neurocircuit. And it's not fantasy, that is neuroscience. Every repetition reinforces the pathway. Every emotional surge floods your brain with dopamine and serotonin, stamping the belief deeper into your wiring. So yes, lighting a candle with intention is literally changing your brain chemistry. The ritual itself becomes a neurobiological signal saying, this is who I am now. And this is where the skeptics love to jump in and say, that's just a placebo. Baby, the placebo effect is one of the most scientifically validated phenomenon on Earth. The placebo works not because the pill has magic dust in it, but because your mind believes that it does, and then your body obeys. Like, that's not trickery. That's proof that consciousness can change physiology. So every spell is a self-directed placebo in the most powerful sense, an intentional use of belief to alter reality from the inside out. So, when you set an intention and physically do something to represent it, you're not just manifesting, you are anchoring. You're telling your body and your brain and the quantum field, this is real now. And ritual gives form to the formless. It moves your will from abstract thought into embodied frequency. That's why it feels different to say, I am powerful, than to light a black candle, breathe deep, and whisper the same phrase while your heartbeat syncs with the flicker of the flame. You have pulled the desire out of your mind and into matter. And here's the scientific kicker. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between imagination and lived experience. When you visualize something vividly enough, and especially when you attach physical sensation or emotional intensity to it, the same neural networks fire as if it were actually happening. This is why rituals and vision boards and sigils and affirmations work. You're running a simulation of success in your own neurocircuitry until it becomes your default programming. And the irony is that people will scoff at witches manifesting with moon water, but then go to therapy to practice somatic regulation and habit formation. It's literally the same fucking thing under a different name. The witch just understood the assignment centuries earlier. So when somebody says spells aren't real, what they mean is, I don't understand how my own subconscious works yet. Because every prayer, every mantra, every affirmation, every breathwork session, that is spell work. It's just neuroscience dressed in ritual. Your subconscious is the cauldron, ritual is the heat, belief is the ingredient. Like, you don't cast a spell to make something true, you cast a spell to make your subconscious believe that it's already true. And once that belief locks in, your thoughts and your habits and your energy and the actions all shift to make it so. That's not magic in opposition to science. That's science proving what witches have known all along. Energy follows focus, and the human mind is the most potent wand there is. Alright, quick break from the cosmic truths. Let's talk about something deliciously messy. My book. For the Plot, coming spring 2026, is what happens when heartbreak turns holy and your healing era gets its own plot twist. This is not your typical self-help book. It is part memoir, part fiction, and fully feral. A love letter to the women who burned down the old version of themselves and rose up with better boundaries and hotter taste. It's raw, it's funny, it's spiritual awakening and stilettos, equal parts tears, tequila, and transformation. So if you've ever whispered, "At least it's good for the plot," while your life was on fire, this one's for you. For the Plot, coming spring 2026. Get on the list now at avamarieanderson.com. Alright, my loves, let's take this shit out of the cauldron and into the cosmos, because the truth is, witchcraft has always been quantum physics wearing eyeliner. Every spell, every intention, every flicker of focus is just consciousness manipulating probability. That's all magic ever was, and it is exactly what science is just now catching up to. But let's start with the basics. So, at the atomic level, everything you see, your body, your dog, that one ex who still watches your stories like a ghost in the machine, it is 99.9999% empty space. That remaining 0.0001% is energy vibrating in patterns that we label as matter. So, what separates a crystal from a cucumber is the frequency of its vibration. Everything is energy in motion. That is not woo, that is physics. And now, in quantum mechanics, we have something called the observer effect. It's the act of observing a particle that changes its behavior. So, just by focusing attention on an outcome, consciousness literally alters what happens on a subatomic level. So, think about that. Energy organizes itself around awareness. You are the observer. The spell is your focus. The universe is the field responding to your direction. So when witches say energy follows intention, that is not a Hallmark slogan. That is a quantum truth. So when you focus on something truly, deeply, with emotional coherence, you collapse its infinite potential into physical probability. So in other words, you make it real. You turn waves into matter. But here's where most people screw it up. They think attention alone is enough, and no, it is not. Intention without emotional charge is like trying to light a candle with no wick. Like, emotion is the current. It's the voltage that makes the field move. The heart emits an electromagnetic field measurable up to 8 feet outside the body. So when your thoughts and your emotions align, when your brain and your heart are in coherence, your electromagnetic field becomes a broadcasting tower. It's literal science behind manifestation. So ritual amplifies that coherence. Lighting the candle, chanting the spell, stirring your potion, these aren't meaningless gestures. They create structure for your energy to focus through. And just like a scientist builds its particle accelerator to focus electrons, a witch builds a ritual to focus attention. Both are manipulating energy fields, only the wardrobe changes. But here's a thought bomb. Every thought that you have emits an electromagnetic signature. Every emotion fine-tunes that frequency. So when you repeat an intention, you are broadcasting a standing wave through the quantum field, and other particles, people, opportunities, experiences, they resonate with that frequency and align accordingly. That's the law of resonance, not just the law of attraction. Quantum coherence, wave entrainment, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it is all the same goddamn mechanism. Like, you're not manifesting things. You are tuning yourself to the reality where those things already exist. Every spell, every affirmation, every visualization is a process of aligning your frequency with the version of reality where your desire is already true. The universe doesn't respond to words, it responds to vibration. And let's just drop this into something tangible. So if you ever walked into a room where two people just fought and you could feel the tension before anybody said a word, yeah, that is quantum entanglement on a human scale. Energy communicates instantly beyond physical boundaries. So every motion, every thought, it leaves an energetic signature that other people pick up on, consciously or not, by the way. So when you perform a ritual, you're not just playing pretend, you're sending out a frequency pulse that ripples through the field, organizing energy around your belief. And now, skeptics love to call this magical thinking, but I'd argue that it is actually scientific humility. Like, we know the universe is made out of vibrating fields and that observation changes outcomes, and yet we still pretend that consciousness has no causal effect. Like, please. The spell is just a structured way of saying, I am focusing my consciousness with precision and purpose. And you can scoff, but you still plug in your phone into an invisible Wi Fi signal every night and you call that normal. So when witches cast a circle, what they're doing is creating an energetic container, a defined field of coherence where intention can build without interference. It's no different than shielding a quantum experiment from outside variables. You're not trapping ghosts, you're minimizing energetic noise. And the deeper the truth is, the deepest, let me just try that again. The deeper truth is this: everything is connected. Every atom of your body is entangled with every atom in the universe. The same energy that births stars is humming through your fingertips right now. Witchcraft is just conscious participation in that entanglement. Science calls it quantum non-locality. Mystics call it magic. Either way, it means that your focus matters because it shapes reality in real time. So, when you cast a spell, light a candle, or whisper an affirmation, you're not summoning power. You are directing it. The spell isn't asking the universe to do something for you. It's aligning you with the version of reality where it is already done, and that is why energy follows intention. Because energy at its core is obedient as fuck to awareness. You point, it moves. You believe, and it builds. You doubt, and then it dissolves. Consciousness commands the field, and witchcraft is simply the art of remembering that you are the one holding the wand. If you strip away the pentagrams and the incense and the side eye from your Christian aunt, witchcraft is basically just ancient neuroscience. It's ritualized psychology designed to regulate the nervous system, shift brain states, and hack consciousness. Like, long before humans had MRIs or dopamine charts, we had drumming and chanting and smoke and rhythm. Like, these weren't aesthetic choices, they were tools, built-in, body-based technologies that let us talk directly to our subconscious and ourselves. But let's just start with the big picture. Every culture, from Egyptian temples to Celtic groves to Yoruba ceremonies, they created ritual as a bridge between the seen and the unseen. But what they were really doing was inducing altered states of consciousness. That trance, that ecstatic sway, that tearful prayer, all of it is a neurological event. It drops your brain waves from beta, thinking and analyzing, into alpha, flow, and then theta, which is deep and creative and intuitive. In theta, the doorway between conscious and subconscious opens wide, and that is where reprogramming happens. That is where the magic happens. Like when you chant, your breath slows. Your vagus nerve, that beautiful little string running from brainstem to gut, it gets the memo that you're safe. And that safety drops your cortisol. It stabilizes your heart rate and it unlocks your intuition. So when you drum at a steady tempo of 4 to 7 beats per second, your heartbeat entrains to that. That's literally the same frequency range as theta brainwaves. So translation, drumming can make your brain a spell portal. And if you ever wondered why witches stir clockwise or move in circles, that's not random either. The brain loves rhythm and pattern. They create predictability, and predictability equals safety. Safety then equals access. Like, you can't manifest shit when your nervous system is in fight or flight. Your body is too busy scanning for tigers. Like, ritual bypasses that. It tells your body, we have done this before. We know what's coming and we're okay. And that's when the subconscious opens and says, cool, let's rewire. Like, even the so-called props, the candles, the herbs, the oils, they have measurable biological impact. effect. Like burning sage releases negative ions, which bind to positively charged particles like dust and bacteria and allergens, literally cleaning the air, which is what our ancestors said that sage did. Mugwort contains thujone, which is a compound that can enhance vivid dreaming. Lavender oil reduces sympathetic nervous system activity. It physically calms your ass down. And then frankincense increases oxygen to the limbic brain, deepening your emotional regulation. So every ingredient your great grandmother used in her kitchen witchery had a chemical signature that interacted with your biochemistry. And this is why ritual feels sacred. It's engaging every sensory system at once, like the smell of the smoke, the sound of the chant, the flicker of light. It is multisensory immersion, a neurological symphony that screams to your body, wake up, pay attention. We are rewiring this script. And now, modern psychology has rebranded ritual. They call it exposure therapy and somatic regulation or habit reinforcement, but the ancient world didn't need clinical terms, they had ceremony. Ritual gave structure to transformation. It created community coherence and the individual empowerment. So when you stood in a circle and declared something to be so, your nervous system got social proof and the safety cues, the same ones that you get when your therapist nods and says, yeah, that's valid. Like witchcraft was and still is the language of embodiment. You're not just thinking a spell, you are performing belief. You are moving it from mind into muscle, and embodiment is what makes the subconscious pay attention. But let's just get a little extra nerdy for a second. We've got mirror neurons, right? These are the cells in your brain that fire both when you perform an action and when you watch somebody else perform it. That's why group ritual feels electric. Your brain is syncing with everybody else's heart coherence, biofield resonance. Like science is just now catching up to what covens have always known. When people focus together with aligned intention, their bodies synchronize, and that's not just metaphor, it is measurable. So when witches gather under a full moon, they're not just being dramatic, although let's be honest, the drama is half the fun. They're forming a shared frequency field. Every chant, every drumbeat, every breath amplifies coherence, and in that field, manifestation speeds up because your electromagnetic signature merges into one giant quantum Wi-Fi signal, screaming your intentions into the void. Like witchcraft isn't primitive, it's precision. It is body-based neuroscience wearing velvet and smelling like myrrh. Like every ritual is carefully coded sequence of sensory and emotional and cognitive inputs that rewire you from the inside out. Like you're not asking the universe to save you, you're reminding your nervous system how to believe again, and that is the real spell. And maybe that's what our ancestors were doing all along, just running experiments in consciousness before science even had the language. And then they just called it magic. You know how everybody loves to say love and light? Yeah, but what about the black holes? Like, this is where Morgan Garza comes in, the shadow work queen herself. Her podcast, Love, Light, and Black Holes, is where mysticism meets the messy middle. Morgan dives into the real work, the grief, the rage, and the rebirths, and somehow makes it sound like a damn revolution. So if you're ready to stop spiritually bypassing and actually integrate your darkness, go check out Love, Light, and Black Holes with Morgan Garza, available wherever you listen. Here's the thing nobody tells you when they start sprinkling rose petals on their manifestation journals. The real altar isn't on your dresser. It is in your goddamn head. Like, your subconscious mind is the temple, the ritual chamber, the whole fucking cathedral of creation, and every external ritual you perform is just a way of communicating with it in a language that it actually understands. But let's break that down, because this is where the woo turns into hard science. Like, your conscious mind is the flashy CEO of your psyche. It is loud and opinionated, and it thinks it's running the company, but it only controls about 5% of the operations. The subconscious is the entire board of directors, the janitors, and the whole fucking factory floor. It is storing every memory, every emotional association, every belief that you have ever absorbed since childhood. It controls your heart rate, your digestion, and your hormones. It's literally the bridge between thought and biology. So, when you do spell work, you're not asking the universe for something. You're giving your subconscious an instruction manual and you're saying, "Hi, here, hey, this is the new truth. Make it so." And it will if you know how to speak its language. Like the subconscious doesn't need to understand negation and sarcasm and hypotheticals. It is a toddler with a PhD in energy. Like it takes everything literally by the way. That's why saying, "I don't want to be broke," still programs broke into your reality. Because that's the emotional frequency that you're transmitting. It's why affirmations sometimes flop if your nervous system doesn't believe them. Like you can chant, "I am rich" all day, but if your body is screaming bullshit, guess which signal the universe is going to listen to? This is why ritual matters. Like ritual bypasses the gatekeeper of the conscious mind, that snarky little voice that's like, "Oh, LOL, okay, sure, you're abundant now." But when you engage your senses, when you move your body, when you layer emotion with symbol and intention, you hypnotize yourself into belief. You suspend disbelief long enough to install a new program, and that is magic. That is neuro-linguistic programming with incense. Like every candle, every sigil, every drop of oil is an external metaphor for an internal command. You're not charging the candle, you're charging your own neural network. You're giving your subconscious a visual representation of change so that it can file it in the right folder. You're saying, "When this candle burns down, the old me goes with it." It is a sensory anchor. And your subconscious loves that shit. It loves repetition. It loves story. It loves drama. That's why it remembers heartbreaks and horror movies more vividly than your tax deadlines. It encodes emotion faster than logic. So if you want a belief to stick, you've got to make it sensory and emotional and embodied. Like you have to feel it. Otherwise, it's just noise. Like, there's a reason visualization is used by Olympic athletes and CEOs. And it's not because they're secretly witches, though honestly, maybe they are, but because the brain fires the same neural patterns, whether you're like physically doing the thing or you're just vividly imagining it. Like, you can literally practice success until your nervous system believes that it has already happened. That's how you cast a spell on yourself, by rehearsing your future so often that your subconscious starts to reroute your entire physiology to match it. And here's that delicious irony. Once your subconscious accepts a belief, it goes looking for the evidence. That is confirmation bias, the psychological mechanism that makes magic real. Your reticular activating system, that tiny bundle of neurons in your brainstem that filters your information, it starts noticing anything that supports your new identity. Like you cast a love spell and suddenly you notice aligned people everywhere. You cast a prosperity spell and maybe there's some opportunities that you would have normally scrolled right past, they start glowing. That's not coincidence, that's cognitive filtering. The spell worked because your perception shifted, and perception dictates reality. And this is why I always say you are both the priestess and the prayer. Like, the magic isn't in the herbs or the candle, it's in the nervous system that believes in them. Like, you don't need a $300 ritual kit to change your life, you just need coherence between your intention and your energy. The subconscious is the altar, the ritual is the access point, and the belief is the ignition. So stop outsourcing your power to the next full moon trend, light your damn candle, sure, but remember who's actually holding the flame, because once you realize that every thought is a spell and every belief is a sigil and every action is an offering, you stop wondering whether magic works and start realizing that you have been doing it all along. Like, you're not casting spells, you are one. All right, let's talk lineage, baby, because you didn't wake up one day and decide to become magical. Like, you are carrying the receipts in your cells. Your DNA is the oldest spell book that you own. It's an ancestral archive, a vibrational hard drive, and a molecular grimoire that remembers every prayer and every heartbreak and every survival code that your people have ever lived through. And this isn't just poetic bullshit, by the way. Science is catching up to I say this all the time. Science is finally catching up to what mystics have always known. Memory is genetic. Epigenetics, the study of how behavior and environment can change gene expression, shows that trauma and resilience and even intuition can be passed down through generations. In lab studies, mice exposed to the smell of cherry blossoms and the subsequent electric shocks produced offspring that feared that same scent. Like they never experienced the pain themselves. That is ancestral imprinting. Now, zoom that out to thousands of years of human evolution. Your body carries the ghosts and the gold of your entire bloodline. So, when you light a candle and you feel something ancient stir in your chest, that is not imagination. That is your lineage waking up. That is the same nervous system that once learned to pray to the river and to the moon and to the soil. It is still inside you. It is just waiting for you to remember the language. Like, witchcraft isn't some modern feminist hobby. Like, it is ancestral technology. Every herb you burn, every sigil you draw, every chant that leaves your lips, those are encrypted codes handed down through time. Like, you think it's random that rosemary boosts memory and was used in funeral rites? Or that salt cleanses energy and also balances your electrolytes? Like, your ancestors didn't have peer-reviewed journals. They had intuition and trial and error and communion with the land. What they called magic, we now call biochemistry. And the reason witchcraft feels like remembering something rather than learning it is because it is. You're activating dormant data. Those shivers that you get when you chant, that is recognition. Your mitochondria, those little powerhouses of your cells, they, which by the way are inherited directly from your maternal line, they still carry the same energetic blueprint as the woman who survived the plagues and burned the herbs in secret and whispered to the night sky for protection. Their strength is your literal structure. And before we get gendered about it, this applies to everybody. Whether you identify as a witch or a wizard or a priest or chaos sorcerer, your ancestry holds the magic. The men who tended the fires, the non-binary healers who crossed the boundaries of spirit, and the herbalists who worked outside the church, they all left energy signatures in the field and in the flesh. So when you do ritual, you're syncing with that archive. But let's blend that with science for a second. DNA emits light. That's not a metaphor. That is measurable. Biophotons. Your cells communicate through pulses of electromagnetic light, literally growing inside of you. Like Russian biophysicist Pop found that DNA stores and releases photons, and that emotional states change that emission. So in other words, your mood changes your light signature. So when you raise your vibration through ritual, like gratitude and chanting and movement and sex magic, whatever your flavor, you're not just raising your frequency in a fluffy way. You're literally altering how your DNA emits light. That's photonic spell work. So yes, you came from a lineage of light workers, and not in the modern influencer sense, but in a biological one. Like every time you heal and forgive and choose differently, you're altering your gene expression and you're sending that new data forward. And that's the real generational wealth, by the way, clean fucking energy. So when they say that you're breaking generational curses, what they mean in biochemical terms is that you're changing methylation patterns on your DNA so that your descendants won't have to carry the same stress response. Like witchcraft is ancestral alchemy. It's turning inherited pain into liberated potential. And don't get it twisted. Your ancestors are not stuck in some dusty corner of history. Like, they're energetic collaborators. Consciousness doesn't die, it transmutes. So when you call on them, you're activating that frequency within you. The old magic hums in your blood, just waiting for direction. And that's why certain herbs and songs and symbols, they just hit different. Because they're passwords. They're keys to an old database of wisdom that you were born to access. So, when you stir that tea clockwise, or when you write that sigil, or when you call on your grandmothers that you never met, you're running ancient code. You are the modern interface for an old operating pattern. You are bridging ancestral memory and modern awareness, matter and energy, biology and spirit. And that's what the real witchcraft is. It's remembering what your DNA already knows. You're the sum of every spell ever whispered for your survival. You are the prayer that worked. And when you finally understand that, when you stop pretending that you're disconnected from your lineage and you start listening to the song inside of your cells, the whole fucking universe shifts to harmonize with it. Because magic isn't something you do, it truly is something that you are. You ever wish your spiritual practice came with a push notification? Same. That is why I live on the Sage app. It's like a digital mystery school and a self-care sanctuary had a baby. You'll find rituals, live classes, moon circles, and daily practices from some of the most badass teachers in the spiritual space. And yeah, I'm one of them. I host the live new moon manifestation clubs, plus courses and activations that blend neuroscience, quantum mechanics, and ancient magic. It's basically science with a side of witchcraft. So come hang with me live on the next new moon inside Sage. Download the app in the App Store or Google Play, and let's just get your energy right and your rituals tight and your frequency lit. Here's the part where I ruin every witch talk shortcut and manifestation hack that you've ever saved. The most powerful spell you will ever cast is belief, held in energetic integrity. Not Latin incantations, not a rare herb harvested under a waning moon by a naked Virgo. It's belief, the steady, coherent, no bullshit kind that lives in your bones. And now let's get brutally honest. Every spell, ritual, manifestation technique that you have ever done will fail if your frequency and your integrity are out of alignment. You can't chant I'm abundant until your throat chakra quits, but if your nervous system is screaming scarcity, you're just decorating your trauma, because energy doesn't lie, baby. It just vibrates truth. So here's why. Your conscious mind can make declarations, but your subconscious runs this code. We've already said it. That's the part of you writing reality from behind the curtain. And if those two programs conflict, reality defaults to the one with the strongest charge. And fear, by the way, is one hell of a transmitter. So is guilt. This is why shadow work isn't optional. It is spell maintenance. Like, you can't manifest freedom while being handcuffed to shame. And the universe, the field, God, source, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it doesn't respond to words. It responds to coherence. Coherence happens when your heart, mind, and body are all saying the same fucking thing. That is measurable in physics. Electromagnetic fields become stronger when they're harmonized. That's also measurable in magic. Your spells snap into 3D when you actually believe what you're saying. And belief isn't pretending, by the way, it's presence. It's living like the thing you desire is already a foregone conclusion. When you do that, you're not wishing, you're calibrating. Belief doesn't beg, it commands. It doesn't hustle, it hums. Integrity is the second ingredient. Like, integrity means that your energy matches your ethics. Like, you can't call in love while breadcrumbing people. You can't manifest money while secretly resenting anybody that has it. Like, the field mirrors who you are, not what you post about. Every thought, every choice, every boundary is part of the spell. Your vibration is your signature. And now think about that coherence again. So when you lie or manipulate or you chase from fear, your frequency fractures. That static tells the field, I don't trust myself. And then the field, being obedient as fuck, reflects that back. And that's why the same lesson keeps showing up wearing different pants. Like, the magic's not broken, your alignment is. And this is also why moral panic around witchcraft is so ironic, by the way. Like, magic doesn't give a fuck about your religion. It cares about your resonance. So the so-called black magic people fear is usually just energy used without integrity. Like, it's desire twisted by control. Maybe it's twisted by fear. Maybe it's twisted by ego. Like, the spell backfires not because the gods are mad, but because the energy collapses under incoherence. Like, you can't bend reality from contradiction. But here's the hard truth. Every outcome in your life is a spell that you cast, conscious or not. Every boundary ignored, every dream postponed, every intuitive nudge silenced, that is spell work in reverse. Like, you're not cursed, you're consistent. You're manifesting evidence of your current vibration with terrifying accuracy. So what's the fix? I'm gonna tell you right now, it's radical responsibility. Like, you start treating your energy like sacred currency, you stop gossiping, you stop leaking, you stop pretending, you get clean, you say no when it's a no, you rest when your body demands it, and you trust the timing even when it makes zero sense. Like, that's not laziness, that is alignment. And from a scientific angle, that is nervous system regulation. When you're coherent, your heart rate's steady, your breath is deep, your mind is clear, your electromagnetic field expands. You become a walking broadcast tower for the frequency of already done. That's why regulated people seem lucky. Like, their energy isn't fragmented. Their belief and their biology are in sync. So, yeah, you can use crystals and moon phases if that helps, but the real work, honestly, is energetic hygiene. Like a clean belief, an honest emotion, and unapologetic alignment. That's the real witchcraft. And then here's the cosmic punchline. The spell doesn't work because you believe in it. It works because it believes in you. Like, energy moves toward integrity like water finds level. When you become the frequency of truth, the universe rearranges itself to accommodate your coherence. And that's why I say magic is science in stilettos. Like, science is magic in a lab coat. They're both languages trying to describe how consciousness shapes creation. Like, the witch just says, as above, so below, and the physicist says, quantum entanglement. It's the same sermon, it's just a different outfit. So, if you remember nothing else, remember this. You are the wand. You are the altar. You are a field collapsing into form. Like, believe like your cells are listening because they are. Live like your frequency writes the laws of physics because it does. Like, that's the real spell, my loves. Belief, energy, integrity. And fuck anybody who tells you that that isn't science. You have been listening to the Synaptic Soul podcast, where science meets spirit and they totally make out. If this episode hit your frequency, do me a favor, rate it, review it, and share it with your fellow quantum weirdos. It helps the wavelength reach more souls. And if you caught a little snoring, that wasn't a portal, just my Frenchies Rocky and Rambo offering background blessings. Music is Cheat Code by 1,000 Hands, used under Creative Commons. And I am Ava Marie Anderson. Stay weird, stay wired, and keep making out with your higher self.